Are you thinking about getting a credit card but don't know where to start? Well, in this video, I'm going to be giving you a broad overview of what a credit card is and how to use them responsibly, but also how to make money with them. If y'all are new here, my name is Spencer, and this is going to be the first video of a series I'm going to create that is basically just going to be a credit card for beginner series. Let's jump right in. So a credit card is basically just a plastic card that is issued by a bank or another lender that allows you to make purchases on this card up to a specified credit limit on each card that you have. And every card is going to have a different credit limit. So credit is basically just an IOU from you to the bank saying that whatever purchases you make on that card that you will pay back at a later date. Now, as you can see, this is where credit cards differ from debit cards. A debit card basically just takes the money from your checking account that it's linked to directly, but a credit card, on the other hand, it saves all of those purchases on your card and charges them to that card instead of your bank. So the money isn't taken away from your bank account right away. And I know what you may be thinking, but no, you can't just be using your credit card to make purchases that you wouldn't be normally making or that you don't have money for, because if you did that, you'd start to accrue interest on any payments you don't make. And if you were to do this, there would be collection agencies that keep track of the debt that you have on your credit card and will basically hunt you down until you pay it. So this isn't a good thing. And now you may be thinking, well, okay, how do I pay off my credit card then? Basically, credit cards are just paid off monthly or on a billing cycle, as they call it. Although you can make early payments on these cards if necessary. And you can also set these up on auto pay, so you never even really have to think about it. But in general, these payments are made through the card issuer's website or app. So for me, for example, I use all Chase cards at the moment, like this one right here. And I do everything through Chase's online portal. And since all of mine are pooled in one account, it makes it pretty easy for me to just take my checking account that I have with Chase and pay all of my cards at once. And as I just hinted at, autopay is a really nice feature to help you to not ever miss a payment. Because if you do miss one of these payments, that'll actually affect your credit score negatively, and it'll also stay on your record for up to 7 years. Now, whenever you go to make these payments, this is the same for every credit card. There are 3 different balances that you can pay off. There's the minimum balance, the statement balance, and the current balance. The minimum balance that you can pay off is generally between $20 and $40. And making this payment will keep you from having a missed payment on your credit report, but this will not help you to avoid any interest payments. A statement balance is basically just all of the money that you put on your card within that billing cycle, that monthly period. And the current balance is the statement balance plus anything you made within the end of your billing cycle and the 21-day grace period that you get to actually pay off your bill. In general, I keep up with my stuff pretty regularly, so I always pay off my current balance. But you can also just set up auto pay to a statement balance, which will then keep you from accruing interest. But then if you were to open your app and see that you still have a balance after you paid your statement balance, that's because you've made some payments on your card after your statement cycle was over, but you can still just pay those off in the next billing cycle. Also, I want to note that it's recommended that you keep your credit utilization, or how much credit you use, to under 30% of your credit limit. And it's really good to just keep that as close to 0 as possible. So if you had like a $10,000 credit limit, then you'd want to keep your spend under $3,000 each month, which would be 30%. But generally, you don't need to be spending that much money every month unless you're a little bit older and have a higher spend. So I would just recommend keeping way less than that on your card. Now that kind of leads me into the next topic I wanted to talk about, which is credit card debt and how you can avoid it. For starters, once you apply for a credit card, you generally sign like a little contract saying that if you are to not make all of your payments, you will accrue interest at like 13.99 to 23.99% in that billing cycle. So if you don't pay that statement balance that I just talked about, or the current balance, and you just pay that minimum amount, you're going to be left with a difference between the statement balance and the minimum balance, and that is what you're going to be paying that 14 to 24% interest on. Credit card debt can accumulate really fast and can really hurt you down the line. I actually found a study where over 14 million Americans are proven to have over $10,000 in credit card debt, which is pretty crazy, and I really don't want you to be one of those people. Now that we've kind of covered what a credit card is and what credit card debt is and how to avoid it, I kind of want to jump into what a credit score is, as that's one of the main factors in why you should be getting a credit card. For those of you who don't know what a credit score is, it's basically just a score between 300 and 850 that tells a credit card company how credit worthy you are. So basically, the higher the credit score, the more credit worthy you are, and the more likely you are to get approved for cards and also for other loans down the line when that comes to like housing. Like if you want to get a mortgage, you have to apply for a loan. And if your credit score is really bad, they're probably not going to give you that loan. This applies to car loans and also just any other kind of loan that you need from a bank or a lender. And if you're at the age like me where you're still in college and you feel like you don't need to worry about this yet, just trust me when I say you're going to thank yourself later down the line for building up your credit score early. A credit score is basically calculated using the metrics that I show here on screen, so just keep these in mind for the future. There are many different ways to increase your credit score by a little bit here and there, but in this video, I just want to give you a broad overview of what you need to focus on to maintain a good credit score. And to do this, I would recommend that you focus on making on-time payments with a low credit utilization rate over a long period of time, and that's how you're going to build a high credit score. Another reason that this credit score is important is because it helps you to get credit cards that you want down the line, and it would really suck to get blocked out from a credit card lender just because you made some irresponsible choices in the past with your credit card. Now let's go ahead and jump into what credit cards are really good for and why you need them. I also want to mention that I made a video on some of these benefits that are really good, especially if you're in college, and I'll link that up in one of these corners. I never know which side it's on. So go ahead and check that out if you want to go more in depth. But if you're looking for just a broad overview, here are some of the benefits. Basically, a credit card is good for building that credit score we just talked about. It's also good for accumulating rewards points, which you can use for travel or cash back or statement credits or anything like that. You can also get some pretty cool welcome bonuses when applying for these cards. And a lot of credit cards give you a lot of protections on like lost or damaged goods that you may have purchased recently. They also give you generally free car rental insurance and free hotel upgrades for some of them. On top of that, you can also get airport lounge access, which I've never used before, but I've heard they're pretty nice. And they can also be used for emergencies in a pinch because, as I mentioned earlier, they are like an IOU to the bank. So if you don't have the money, you can technically put money on your card. This is not a good reason to get a credit card because, like I mentioned, credit card debt is so bad to have. So I would not recommend this. The main perk of a credit card that I kind of want to talk about here, though, is going to be the rewards points. So credit card reward points are basically deposited into your account within like 10 days of you making a purchase on your card, and they can be redeemed for many things such as travel, cashback, statement credits, and much more. So the easiest way for me to conceptualize what a credit card reward point is that they are basically assigned to you at 1 point per dollar that you spend. And if you get 1 point per dollar that you spend, those points can be redeemed for 1 cent each. So that means if you had 100 points and you wanted to go ahead and redeem the points that you have in your account, you'd be able to get $1 in rewards from those 100 points. I hope that kind of makes sense, and it's really kind of confusing at the beginning, but just maybe rewind this a couple times and you can kind of get the hang of what I'm talking about. There are many different hacks you can do to get more value for the points that you have. I'm not going to cover those here, but there are a ton of videos out there that can help you get more than that 1 point per dollar you spend. So in general, credit cards usually give you anywhere from 1 to 5 points per dollar on certain categories that you spend in. So for example, my Chase Sapphire Preferred, I have a 3x category on dining, meaning that for every dollar I spend in the dining category, I get 3 points per dollar on that. So if I went to a restaurant and I spent $20, getting 3 points per dollar, I would get 60 points. And those 60 points could be redeemed for 60 cents in the future. But as you can see, if you do this for every single purchase that you make, you're gonna accumulate points really fast. And in general, if you use your credit card like you do a debit card, you're basically just getting rewarded for making the purchases you already would have made, which is really just a no-brainer. So in the end, I only recommend getting a credit card if you plan on using it responsibly and basically just using it like a debit card. I've never put something on my credit card that I didn't have the money in my bank account for, and that's really important in avoiding that credit card debt we talked about. I think getting a credit card is also really good for just building that credit history that I talked about that will raise your credit score in the future, while at the same time earning rewards on things that you're gonna buy anyway. And just keep in mind, if you were to accrue interest on a card, even just one big interest payment could wipe out your rewards for a whole year, so it's really just not smart to ever get anywhere near credit card debt. And I don't really say this to scare you, I just want you to realize how important it is to stay on top of your finances and not just let credit card debt accumulate and end up ruining your bank account. If I had to sum up this whole video in one sentence, I would basically say that a credit card is the better version of a debit card that you earn reward points on for spending on it. And really, if you still only use a debit card after watching this video, I hope you realize that you're kind of just wasting money on rewards you could be earning. If you have any more specific questions about credit cards, please leave them in the comments below, as I'd love to get to those questions and answer them for you. I do want to note that this video was intended just to be a broad overview of credit cards, but in the future, I'll be getting more into the intricacies of credit cards and how you can best use them to maximize your rewards. But I do hope this video helps you to answer some of the common questions that you might have about credit cards. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you gained a lot of value from this video. If you did, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you guys next time.